Okay, well, now let's turn our attention to the prop tech sector, where Arcanite is an off-the-shelf off-the-plan sales management platform. It's been a while since I've bought any property. The software solution assists property developers and estate agents to simplify their sales channels and projects. The company has sold $1 billion worth of properties on its platform. And to tell us more about it, I'm joined now by Arcanite CEO William D. Lin and Phil as well. Gents, great to have you here in the studio.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to take a step back with you guys. Tell us a little bit about what sent you down this path.
I came from a background running project selling operations myself. I had my own agency for about 8 years. And during that experience, we had a lot of difficulty selling off the plan because buyers can't really see what they're buying into. They usually just have a floor plan, and the sales management side also gets a bit more complicated because property don't, the construction don't usually get finished after 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So we actually, had a genuine need ourselves to develop a brand new system. So at the time for ourselves to use, but later on, I feel that a good system can really benefit the entire market. Instead of just running our own operation, we wanted to accelerate the entire new development sector because to help more developers and more real estate agents using the knowledge that we know and we gather throughout those years. So this is why we created Arcanite.
Phil, you're the CEO of Equimate.
Yes.
Tell us what brings you into this space and collaborating with Will.
So me and William go back many years. So we talk about working together in the property industry. My background is 20 years in property and finance, and also working in the banks and in underwriting. So what we're seeing today, Simon, is the struggle of people trying to get into property, and the big one is lending and criteria. What we're having in today's market is the big obstacle is coming up for deposit. And it's good to see that the governments and state governments are coming up with systems and processes and programs to help get people into program. Equimate is there to help people that don't fit those programs as well. So the benefit here is it's a platform where people are struggling to come up where their rental can pretty much cover the loan repayment, but yet they cannot come up with that 5 or 10% that's required. With the government coming in, that's great, but you've got to fit inside that peg, inside that box. Equimate covers, so if you meet our lending criteria, it's also helped to facilitate. Equimate is also here to help with our users, our developers and our real estate agents help move stock as well by using Equimate as a platform as well to help facilitate sales and help facilitate, the big one is getting people into homes.
Well, that has been the challenge, and I know I felt that too. You can afford the rent, and sometimes you're paying more than your mortgage would cost you, but
Correct.
Saving along the way is the difficulty. How big is this addressable market at this point in time? Because, of course, we've had some booms, and we're going through a quiet period in terms of property at the moment, but there is a lot of pent-up demand for additional property. So in terms of off-the-shelf businesses, how do you see the next 5 years or so?
We're looking at growing the Australian market because that's our core focus at this stage. Later on, we will be also looking at the Southeast Asian market and expanding there. For the local sector, we're seeing about 20% of all the real estate agents being able to benefit using our platform, selling off the plan product and streamline that whole process. Also using other products that we have, such as DragonVR and Equimate, to really make the entire project selling experience effortless.
So you've been building this idea at Stone and Chalk. How long have you been working on it for to get it to this level and to sort of launch Equimate along the way?
So it started as just an idea and like a side project for me when I was running my previous business. And it was called Project Arc, like automation real estate company. And then we started this idea late 2018. And then we just kept building on it. And during COVID, I thought I really wanted to focus on this one, focus all my energy on this one project. So I transitioned to just doing the software side. And Phil actually worked with us from the previous ventures.
And so then Phil came on board and is now sort of launching that product into market. Phil, where do you see the opportunities here in Australia? Is it mainly going to be in Sydney, or do you see this national possibility?
It's actually across the board, Simon. So when you look at where Arcanite lays at the moment for the past 12 months, even during COVID, we have grown the business over 110%. At the moment, we have over 24,000 properties on the platform, and that's growing with over $21 billion worth of stock as well.
Wow.
And we've also got over 1,900 individual real estate agents on our platform, and that's growing as well. So when you look at demand, is where we've helped facilitate 1.1 billion now worth of sales on our platform, and we're only just scraping the top of the iceberg. When we bring in other businesses that's under Arcanite, like the DragonVR and Equimate, that's going to help pretty much the J-curve. We're going to go straight up and help get through. But the main thing, going back to your answer, is the businesses, the industry is always growing. There is a lack of demand. There's a lack of stock. There's a lot of demand, and that's where the governments are trying to facilitate, to open up more land banking to help facilitate, and that's where Arcanite and Equimate will come in to help facilitate those sales, and at the same time help facilitate the actual lending behind that as well.
So I'm going to ask you both this question, since you're CEOs of the two separate businesses. What's next on both fronts? How are you guys going for runway and capital as you build out both platforms?
Well, okay, I think the main one at the moment, so we actually had this conversation, was expansion into Jakarta and into New Zealand. We've already got clients on the Arcanite platform. With Equimate, is the platform being the way it is, if it meets the lending criteria in the New Zealand market, we could expand there as well. But for the platform itself, we are growing that. It is a global market. And we've already got clients overseas using our platform right now. So we're actually in the process of doing our next cap raise. So we actually closed our seed round in January, and we're now looking at international expansion now for our next round as well.
Well, it sounds like pretty exciting times ahead. Will, I'm just going to ask, are you buoyant about Australian property? Because people are getting a little bit nervous around the RBA and interest rates in this point in time. Do you think it is still going to stay strong?
I believe so, because we're always going to have property. We always have to either rent or buy. As a family, we don't really have a choice. So what I see in the past is that I feel that the developers should be building more, and then with the current construction costs, it's getting harder and harder for them to build. So if we could accelerate them on the sales side, they can actually move on to the next project quicker, and therefore building more projects and having the price keep at a reasonable, affordable range for the buyers. That's my perspective, I think it will still go strong. Yes, the real estate sector, it does go in cycles, but I think in the long run, it will stay strong.
It's a big part of the Australian way of life.
Absolutely.